I'd like to briefly focus on Afghanistan. The US withdrawal from there is nearly complete, ahead of the August 31st deadline set by the Biden administration. But many are concerned about who is being left behind.
As America ends its longest war, the translators left behind are begging the Biden administration to cut through the red tape and grant them special visas to come to the U.S. Today, Independent Senator Angus King told reporters the president's hair should be on fire over this situation.
It's true. This is a situation Biden's hair should be on fire about, both metaphorically and literally. It'd frankly be a huge improvement on his current look, which I describe as business ghost, also known as the sane Doc Brown or the flat Jamie Lee Curtis. Because the fact is, there are thousands of Afghans who helped US troops during the war who badly need to be evacuated because the Taliban very much wants to kill them. Since 2014, more than 300 translators or their family members have been killed. And I will say, publicly, Biden has been sending some encouraging messages.
Our message to those women and men is clear. There is a home for you in the United States, if you so choose, and we will stand with you just as you stood with us.
Oh, well, that sounds great. Although the if they so choose part there is doing a lot of work, because it's clearly not so much their choice as it is ours. We are the ones in charge of the process. So putting the choice on the applicants is basically a surgeon handing you a scalpel saying, there is a tumor-free pancreas in your body if you so choose, and I will stand with you. I think you might be fundamentally confused about who has power over the outcome here. And the application process has been a mess for a long time. As we discussed on the first season of this show, presumably 40 years ago, just applying for a special immigrant visa can be a nightmare. And while 18,000 Afghans have applied on behalf of themselves and their families, representing an estimated 53,000 people in total, many have been stuck waiting, and in some cases, for years.
Monir Nouri has been waiting on a special immigrant visa for nearly a decade. He first applied for a special immigrant visa in 2013 and said he's been rejected 4 times. Monir was told by the State Department that his documents were fraudulent, but was not given a specific example to appeal.
There is more than hundreds and hundreds more special force interpreters left behind. They have the same issues, and I don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, of course not. And we can't let that happen because it's practically a death sentence. Being left behind in this context is even worse than seeing Left Behind, the 2014 Nicolas Cage faith-based thriller about the second coming that boasts, and this is true, a solid 1% on Rotten Tomatoes. Clearly, there aren't many things worse than seeing Left Behind, but I'm going to say getting abandoned to be murdered by the Taliban is definitely one of them. And it's not just that interpreter who is frustrated here. The US soldiers he worked alongside are also appalled by this situation.
We're filling out all of the paperwork. We're going through all the due diligence and the process to make this right. And nobody is responding with any information that would be critical to getting him out of country.
Like, this is like both a huge leadership failure for me, like personally and in the military. The fact that I haven't been able to get my guy out.
That does sound maddening. Particularly because getting my guy out is basically what we've been conditioned to think the military does. It's supposed to be saving Private Ryan, not filing paperwork on Private Ryan's behalf, waiting a few months, filing requisition paperwork to track down the initial paperwork, and then learning Private Ryan was shot in the head by a Nazi last month. And there is real urgency here, as the Taliban currently controls about half of Afghanistan's 419 district centres, and while they've yet to capture any of the provincial capitals, they are pressuring about half of them. This is basically the Bill Cosby comeback tour of political crises. We can all see where it's going, and if we don't act quickly, something terrible is going to happen. And yet, incredibly, there are some, like Supercut superfan Rand Paul, who have questioned whether we should be evacuating all of these people at all.
I would encourage them rather to stay and fight. I think it would be good to have many English speakers in Afghanistan. The future of Afghanistan could be a bright future. But they're going to have to fight for it. And ultimately, it is their fight.
Okay, first, fuck all the way off. And second, fight with fucking what exactly? Their working knowledge of the difference between there, and there? Also, telling translators to stay and fight the Taliban is pretty rich, coming from a guy who couldn't even win a fight against his neighbour on his own front lawn.